Welcome to The Wisdom of the East, your gateway to explore ancient traditions and teachings that emanate from the East. Get ready for an enlightening journey where we unravel age-old secrets and wisdom that have shaped cultures, philosophies, and martial arts. In this video, we take a deep dive into the remarkable life and legacy of Master Motobu Choki, one of Okinawa's most influential karate masters. Known for his fierce fighting spirit and practical approach to karate, Master Motobu developed a unique style that emphasized realistic combat skills and effective self-defense techniques. He was known for using traditional Okinawan methods but tailoring them for street-ready practicality, ensuring that his students understood the importance of adaptability in combat. Through his commitment to direct, effective techniques, Master Motobu earned a lasting reputation as a master of practical karate. We'll explore how Motobu Choki's unconventional path and fighting experiences shaped his teaching methods. Born into a noble Okinawan family, he defied traditional expectations by dedicating himself to martial arts instead of the path typically reserved for his class. His training was intensive and focused on real-world applications, which he believed were essential for anyone studying the art of self-defense. This approach not only distinguished his style from more conventional karate practices but also influenced later generations of martial artists, showing the world that karate was more than just form, it was about function. Master Motobu's life was filled with challenges and controversies, as he often opposed established martial arts norms and engaged in intense matches to prove his techniques. His famous fight with a foreign boxer highlighted his skill and validated the practicality of Okinawan karate against other fighting styles. This event and others helped spread the fame of Motobu's approach and brought Okinawan karate into a broader global conversation, emphasizing the relevance of karate as a robust, real-world martial art. Master Motobu Choki. Upbringing and training. Motobu Choki Sensei was born April 5, 1870, into an aristocratic Ryukyuan family. The third son of Motobu Aji Choshin and his wife Mausher, Choki Sensei was called Masanra as a child, Ma being a polite prefix and Sanra meaning third son. This is one theory for the source of his later nickname, Saru, or monkey, which can also be pronounced Sura. From a young age, he had an interest in the martial arts, and his formal training began at the age of 12 along with his eldest brother Koyu Sensei under the Shuriti master Idosu Enko, who was invited to their family home to instruct them. Being 13 years younger than Koyu Sensei, from the age of 19, Motobu also studied under the Tamariti master Matsumura Kosaku. Motobu's abilities in Kumite training seem to have made an impression on Matsumura, who is said to have remarked, "For a young man, he is extremely talented in the martial arts," reported in the Ryukyu Shimpo, 1936. Motobu sought instruction from all the great martial artists of his time and immersed himself in first-hand research into karate. At a time when it was difficult to receive training from even one master, it was Motobu Choki's origins as a son of a family of the Yuden rank that enabled him to do this. Always lost to him in Kumite. Because of this, he secretly sought instruction from other legendary masters such as Matsumura Soken Sensei of Shuri and Sakuma Sensei while still training under Idosu Sensei. Matsumura Sensei was such a great martial artist that Choki Sensei said of him, "Among recent karate masters, there was no one as exquisite or strong." A direct student of Choki Sensei at the Daidokan Dojo, Matsumori Masami, has also said Motobu and Yabu were Matsumura Sensei's prize students, so it seems that Choki Sensei and his good friend Yabu Kentsu were favorites of Matsumura Sensei. Sakuma Pechen was a contemporary of Matsumura Sensei, and they were both regarded as the preeminent Shuriti masters of their time. In his Watashi no Karate Jutsu, Choki Sensei praises Sakuma Pechen as Sakuma the Wise. It may have been because of Sakuma Sensei's sophisticated understanding of karate and logical teaching methods that Choki Sensei's Kumite abilities developed so quickly. From the age of 19, Motobu also studied under the Tamariti master Matsumura Kosaku. Choki Sensei's abilities in Kumite training seem to have made an impression on Matsumura, who is said to have remarked, "For a young man, He is extremely talented in the martial arts, reported in the Ryukyu Shimpo, 1936. Motobu sought instruction from all the great martial artists of his time and immersed himself in first-hand research into karate. At a time when it was difficult to receive training from even one master, it was Motobu Choki's origins as a son of a family of the Yuden rank that enabled him to do this. Choki-sensei also did something unprecedented for a person of noble birth at the time by venturing into Naha's red light district of Sujimaki to take part in street fights known as kakedameshi. At a time when karate was still a martial art studied only among the military class, it was inconceivable for anyone of that class to flout propriety by fighting in such a dangerous place. A loss in such a situation would not only be physically dangerous, but would also bring shame upon one's family. Thus, a person of noble birth such as Motobu Choki taking part in such fights was unheard of. However, Choki-sensei was rational by nature and believed in the authenticity of experience. He sought to verify the usefulness of the techniques he had learned from his teachers in actual confrontations. In hundreds of kakedameshi encounters, he did not lose even once. As a result, by the time he reached his mid-20s, his nicknames of Motobu Yuden no Sarayuemi, Lord Monkey of the Motobu Yuden, and Motobu no Sar, Motobu the Monkey, were known throughout Okinawa. Choki-sensei had become a living legend while still only in his 20s. He subsequently immersed himself in research into Kumite with his fellow student Yabu. Whenever they encountered a problem or question, Motobu Choki would seek guidance from his teachers. Determined not to let his abilities go to his head, Choki-sensei began an earnest and humble investigation into the heart of karate that continued into his old age. Life on the Japanese mainland. In 1921, Motobu Choki moved to Osaka. In November of 1922, while visiting Kyoto, he saw a sign advertising matches of judo versus boxing. Impulsively jumping into a match himself, Choki-sensei downed his European boxer opponent in one blow. At that time, Choki-sensei was 52. In those days, it was still said that life is 50 years. Therefore, the spectators were astonished to see a man considered elderly take down such a huge boxer using an unknown martial art, and after the match they were caught up in wild enthusiasm. Choki-sensei was already a legendary karateka in Okinawa, but after the match his reputation as a martial artist began to spread on mainland Japan, and he was besieged with inquiries about karate and requests for instruction. In 1922, he established a dojo in what is now Osaka's Kanahana Ward, and also instructed at the Maikage Police Department and Maikage Normal School in neighboring Hyogo Prefecture. In 1925, the magazine Kingu, which had the largest circulation at the time, gave the story of Choki-sensei's victory in Kyoto extensive coverage. It is from this article that many people in Japan first heard of the Okinawan martial art of karate. The people of Okinawa, who were suffering under harsh economic conditions at the time, were glad to hear news of the success of one of their own on the Japanese mainland. In May of the following year, Choki-sensei published his compilation of Okinawan Kenpo Karate Jutsu Kumite. This volume is the oldest record of Kumite, and the classical Okinawan Kumite techniques introduced in it are today preserved only in Motobu Kenpo. As such, it is not simply the Kumite manual of one Ryua, but a priceless document of Okinawan culture and history which is held in high regard both in Japan and around the world. Tokyo and the Daidokan. In the late 1920s, Choki-sensei moved his base of operations to Tokyo while his family remained in Osaka. In 1929, he became Shurhan of the Toyo University Karate Club. Around the same time, he established the Daidokan Dojo in what is now Tokyo's Bankyo Ward. The exact date of the Daidokan's establishment is unknown, but the few existing records seem to indicate it was functioning by 1930. The dojo was located on the first floor of a rented house and was extremely modest. However, its historical importance comes from it having been the oldest formally named dojo dedicated exclusively to karate in Japan. In naming it, Choki-sensei was inspired by the Zen verse Daido Mumen, intending to express that the path to becoming a great martial artist can be found by seeking understanding of karate by one's own initiative, as he himself had done. In 1932, Choki-sensei published his second book, Watashi no Karate Jutsu. In this volume, he appeared in photographs of the entire sequence of Naihanchi. Moreover, he strongly warned against misinterpretations of Naihanchi and expressed concern about what he saw as the distorted state of karate on mainland Japan. In particular, his conservative post-ion regarding alteration of kata came from his opposition to other karateka doing so solely to expedite the promotion of karate on the Japanese mainland. Choki-sensei also strove to record the names and specialties of the martial artists of the Ryukyu Kingdom and preserve the oral traditions of karate history that he had heard from his teachers. Today, Watashi no Karate Jutsu is considered the primary document regarding the history of karate. In 1936, Choki-sensei briefly returned to Okinawa for karate research, and on October 25 took part in the Ryukyu Shimpo-sponsored Karate Master Symposium. The historical significance of this symposium was so great that October 25 was officially declared Karate Day by the Okinawan legislature in 2005. In addition, a one-man symposium with just Choki-sensei was held on November 7. The contents of this symposium were covered in a series of 3 newspaper articles titled "Listen to the Real Fighting Stories" of the venerable martial artist Motobu Choki. The respect accorded Choki-sensei in this way illustrates his position as the foremost practitioner of Okinawan karate at the time. In this later symposium, Choki-sensei reiterated his dissatisfaction with the state and direction of contemporary karate. He criticized the alteration of kata from their characteristics during the time of Matsumura-sensei and Sakuma-sensei, as well as the presumptuous creation of kyumight with no connection to tradition by a generation with no knowledge of the classical kyumight of the Ryukyu Kingdom. However, the subsequent history of karate indeed went down the path Choki-sensei feared it would. Latter years. In 1937, Motobu Choki returned to the mainland and resumed instruction at the Daidokan a short time later. At that time, the boxer known as Piston Horiguchi, 1914 to 1950, received training from Choki-sensei there. In addition, as the Daidokan was close to the Kodokan dojo, the judo master Toku Sampo, 1887 to 1945, and others would often come by. When Choki-sensei would return to Osaka, he would also give instruction to his son Choziai. Unlike his elder brother Koyu, Motobu Choki had given up weapons training while still in his youth. However, in his latter years he began practicing kenjutsu and bojutsu once again. His students Nakata-sensei and Murayama-sensei later said that Choki-sensei's use of weapons was impressive and that his knowledge of weapons seemed to be reflected in the principles of Motobu Kempo. Then in 1941, Motobu Choki closed the Daidokan in Tokyo and briefly returned to Osaka. He remained there until the middle of 1942, when he left for Okinawa. At first, he had planned only a short homecoming, but as the war intensified and returning to Osaka became difficult, he decided to see out his last days in the place of his birth. During the war, as blackouts started against air raids, Choki-sensei is reported to have said the war is lost. A defensive battle is almost impossible to win. Choki-sensei passed away on April 15, 1944 at the age of 74. His grave is today in Keizuka City in Osaka. As we conclude this journey through the life and teachings of Master Motobu Choki, we can see how his legacy continues to influence the world of martial arts. His unwavering dedication to realistic combat and the effectiveness of karate as a practical self-defense system set him apart as a pioneer. Motobu's approach, which emphasized adaptability and real-world application over rigid formality, challenged traditional norms and brought new perspectives to karate, inspiring future generations to see the art as both physically and mentally empowering. Master Motobu's insistence on functionality over appearance made his style accessible and practical for anyone willing to learn. His belief that karate should prepare practitioners for real encounters, rather than just tournaments or demonstrations, reflects a depth of understanding about martial arts that few achieved in his time. This emphasis on realism still resonates today, especially among those seeking to practice karate not just as a sport but as a holistic self-defense system. Beyond his techniques and training methods, Motobu's courage in the face of criticism and his commitment to his beliefs made him an enduring figure in martial arts history. He wasn't afraid to challenge the status quo or engage in matches to validate his style, showcasing the effectiveness of Okinawan karate on international platforms. His fearlessness in the face of adversity serves as a reminder that martial arts is as much about inner resilience as it is about physical strength. Master Motobu also valued the importance of kata, but with a strong focus on its application in real situations. His emphasis on bunkai, the practical interpretation of kata movements, encouraged his students to think critically about each technique and its potential use in combat. This analytical approach to training remains essential to karate practitioners around the world, helping them gain a deeper understanding of the art's true purpose. In honoring Master Motobu Choki, we not only celebrate a legendary martial artist but also a visionary whose teachings still guide karate today. His influence lives on in the dojos, in the students who study his methods, and in the minds of all those who seek to understand karate beyond the surface. May his legacy continue to inspire future martial artists to embrace karate as both a physical and philosophical journey, grounded in the wisdom and spirit of one of Okinawa's greatest masters. Thank you for joining us in this exploration of Master Motobu's life and legacy. Thanks for watching. If you liked it, take a look at these videos that are in the cards at the end, like, comment, share, and see you in the next video.